Islam Bouakkaz is an actor best known for his leading role as Arman in Netflix series The Letter for the King. Islam provides us with an in-depth look into his process and the incredible journey he has been on to get to where he is today. Hello everybody, welcome. Today we're joined by Islam. Islam, how are you?
Hi man, I'm good. I'm very well, man. Thanks for having me. It's good to
Lovely
be.
to
It's
have you
actually
on.
my first ever podcast.
Is it?
So yeah, man, it's my first ever one. So hopefully it goes well.
No, you'll be great. Thank you. I just want to kick it off really about asking how you first got into acting and when did you realise what you wanted to go to drama school? Well, like when did you realise you wanted to go to drama school to pursue it?
Yeah, for me, it's been ever since, man. I'm from Algeria, and I moved to England when I was 4 years old with my family, and from then, I used to watch a lot of cartoons. I used to watch a lot of TV, and I used to just impersonate the characters that I'd see. And then after impersonating these characters, I'd usually go and play with my toys and then try and recreate those scenes or those characters' accents and voices, through playing with my toys and that. And then I'd go to school, primary school, and my English wasn't great, and my friends would help me. And so the best way I'd communicate is through comedy or impersonations and making them laugh. And ever since then, I knew that this whole performing thing is probably my thing. It's something I want to do. And growing up, I realized that acting, this thing's actually a job. I want to do the same thing that these people are doing on TV and on stage. And yeah, so it was ever since I was young.
Awesome. Obviously, we went to drama school together, Art said.
Yeah,
So I'm going to ask, what was the most useful thing you learned while training there?
yeah. It was such a roller coaster. It's like you're
Mm.
there every day for almost 3 years, and so you're training your actor's muscle, almost every day, and you almost sort of take that for granted, especially after you leave. I've not, it's been about 2 years since I've graduated, and you take for granted how important it is to keep flexing those actors' muscles.
Yeah.
I think just my mentality and my professionalism, in general, when I'm working, um, my preparation when I'm on set or on stage. I trust that the work that I do. I'm confident in trying new things, whether that's a new take, whether that's being free and open in a scene. And just I remember even just in classes, if I'd fail one class, what I believe I'd fail, I was always eager to come in next day and do better and just improve.
Mm.
Yeah, that's much better than
Yeah.
you in singing, wasn't it, Christian?
Yeah, I just give up and not go to the class.
I mean, don't even don't get me started with singing, man. Man, the thing with singing is the thing about singing is that I really wanted to actually be good at it and actually do well, and then it didn't end up working out, man. It was always the weirdest class in the week.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean,
It's
mine didn't work out, I think, to lack of ability, but
oh
Oh yeah,
man,
yeah,
it's hard going to a school that is basically the sort of RADA of musical theatre and then having to stand up, and it's painful. But
yeah, yeah, definitely.
anyway, I'd love to ask you about what was the process like of leaving the sort of drama school bubble and going out into the industry like? Is it's almost as difficult to go right as it is and to get into drama school in the first place. And I mean, you were very successful in that you left with a top agent, which is probably one of the main aims in third year, and you got stuck straight into some really fantastic work. What was it like leaving that bubble, and were there any things that you can identify that made that successful streak possible?
I think leaving there wasn't. It was overwhelming at the start, but I think there wasn't time to even take it all in, because as soon as I signed and got with my agent, it was like bang, we got to start working now. Let's start getting these tapes in. It's the next step into the world, and so there wasn't really this time to sort of absorb everything that was going on. And then it was only when after really leaving Art Said, um, that's when it started to feel real. I wouldn't be going into school anymore, and I'd be at home a lot more, and I'd also be working part time. Um, and definitely when I was working part time, especially, I'd be working a few days in the week, doing self tapes here and there, waiting to hear back, getting a lot of no's and stuff. And And then, well, it was exactly like how they explained it at drama school. To be
Mm.
honest, it's exactly, it's what it was on the tin.
Mm.
And then fortunately, obviously, I had my first job was with Ricky.
Mm.
That's when it was like, oh bang, here we go. This is it. Got, even though it was just a day's work, a couple of hours work. That's progress. Boom. That's my first step into it.
What was that first
Awesome.
job, if you don't mind me asking? I don't think I found that when we were researching.
Yeah, it was Afterlife, season 1 of Afterlife.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Yeah,
Ricky. Well, duh.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's well.
Um,
That's. What was the audition process like when you first graduated, especially with a project like that?
mm,
And how's it changed, if at all, from the auditions that you've had since?
audition. Oh, mate, I was at the start. I'd go into all the auditions like pretty much nervous. Because you're a drama school and you're used to doing it with teachers and the same teachers you'd see every time, and I'd go in nervous and I'd wonder if I was even really listening in the room. I'm sort of I'm just smiling and nodding, and I'd come out anxious at times, overthinking, did I do this right, did I do this wrong? Um, because I think I'd have more self tapes. Self tapes were easier in a way because you're in a room with your mate, and then whereas going in the room, it's different. Obviously, face to face.
Mm.
Um, and the redirection as well. Getting redirection from someone you've never met before is different because you kind of get to know your teachers at school when they give you redirection. You know how to work off you know how to work off each other, and there's a vibe. Whereas anything could be said in that audition room. They could ask you to do anything, and the nerves could affect that. But then over time, I definitely got used to it over time, and I stopped thinking about the outcome of the audition and the outcome of the job. Whether this, oh my god, this could be my big break. This role could do bits for me. This could do so much. I sort of switched to a mentality of I'm an actor. I'm gonna walk in that room. I'm gonna do my job, and I'm gonna leave, and the rest is in their hands.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's almost paralyzing when you first leave, isn't it? And you go in and, like you say, they give you redirection, and you're so nervous trying to get it right, whatever
Yeah,
that is, and you end up doing nothing to do with what they redirected you with.
yeah, yeah.
With that said, talking about the audition process, do you have any other tips for actors going into the audition process, as in the way you prepare?
Mm.
Mm,
Or self tapes, actually, because you spoke about you enjoyed self tapes a little bit more and you
Mm.
graduated,
yeah,
so on that as well.
yeah. It's auditions. It's like I said before. Don't never think about the outcome of the job and what it could do for you. Just take it step by step and just work on that audition. Um, it's easier said than done, obviously, but I think just work as hard as you can on that script. Don't overwork it. Remember that the people that are auditioning you there, they want you to do well. They're on your side. It's not a test in a way. Before I go in, usually I'm just sort of in the zone. I might read my scene, once or twice, and then that's it. Just get in the zone, relax, take in the space where I'm sitting and waiting before my audition, look around and just sort of just getting myself in a nice calm zone. Um, for self tapes as well, I think for each take I try and limit it to about maybe 5 to 6 takes, depending on the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the more you just overdo it, the more you get in your head, and you start getting picky with the scene.
Mm.
You start overthinking, and then it gets you more stressed, and that tightens you up when you're going to the next scene. The last thing you want to do is be really tense and tighten up in your
Mm.
scenes.
Mm.
And
On
you've
that
got
self
your
tapes as well, do you find yourself, when, as you say, with doing the certain number of takes? Because I find the more takes I do, I'm looking to try and correct myself in the bit that I didn't like. I'm looking at trying to take on the note that I might have given myself rather than anything that actually matters. Is that something that gets in your head, and
yeah,
that's why you limit your takes?
yeah, definitely. When I'm watching my takes back, I'm like, oh yeah, this is great, but this one bit, um, I could do a lot better. Or it looks fake, or it just doesn't look right, and at the end of the day, if it constantly happens and you're not getting this certain part right and it just doesn't work, then go with whatever you got best. And because when you're in the moment, if you're filming your scene, you're not going to be filming your scene just thinking about that one moment. You're supposed to be in the moment throughout the whole scene. doing your thing. You shouldn't be in your head thinking about that one particular moment in the scene of trying to make it seem more real or more emotional, or etc.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'd really want
You
to ask you about your sort of acting process, as it were, to use that wanky terminology. But
Mm,
what do you see as essential work to do before you act? What do you need to generate performance? Because I remember watching you in This Is Art Ed, the Roy Williams play
mm,
that was directed by Lynette Linton. I thought it was fabulous, and what I loved about your performance is you managed to have so much energy, and it was almost like, because a lot of your performance was really understated, but there was always this undercurrent of energy that, like, you could explode at any time. Like your character from memory was someone who was a convict who served time,
mm,
and that idea of that there's this anger underneath that wants to come out, but you managed to keep it so natural.
mm,
What do you like to do? What is there any methodology that you really like? Is it a process that you've developed when you were training? How do you go
mm.
about it?
Yeah, I think at school definitely the process they would take us on helped a lot. Um, with me, the first thing I always do is always I have to know this character like the back of my hand. I've got to know this person, whether that's me sitting and writing all down facts about this person, how old they are, or just knowing this character physically in my body. And it's stuff at drama school. We do improvs, and they put us into scenes together with improvs and scenarios and situations, and they just let us act for 10, 15 minutes, or maybe even half an hour at a time, and sometimes even an hour, a whole hour of just being in that world. And that is what helps me the most, because imagine just being that character for a whole hour or for a whole day. You know them like the back of your hand, and because you know them like the back of your hand, you know what makes them angry, what makes them sad, what makes them tick, what they find annoying, what their habits are. These little things that are so important, that give life to this character. For me, that always works for me at first. If I need to be in this character's shoes for a long amount of time to fully understand them,
Do
and
you
then
do that
and then
before you, like, work on the text, or do you do it and then you jump straight into the text? What's the sort of chronology of
yeah,
having that in the process?
I look at the text because um I want to see why this character says this in this way.
Hmm.
So while I'm discovering this character's everything about this character, I'll read the text at a time and think, why are they saying it this way? What are they saying it for? And I would I'd play with the pattern, the speech pattern of the character. Um, does this character make eye contact while speaking? So the text does drive the narrative of the character, and usually it will come naturally. The text, it will come naturally when once you've embodied this character.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sort of about just letting it go once you've done all that work, isn't it?
yeah,
We mentioned agents at the start. I'd love to know a bit about your actor-agent relationship. Obviously, it varies for everybody, but what have been the positives from yours? Is it like a real partnership together?
yeah, yeah. No, my agent, she's great. From the start, from the meeting, I felt like we would get along. That she understood what I wanted to do, and as an actor, and um, our relationship. I think it's not like we could go like 2 or 3 months without talking, or maybe 2 months without an audition or anything, and then we could just instantly chat like nothing. It's that, because I
Mm.
know she's very busy. She's got loads of other clients, and it's that, and I know some other actors have it different, and that's completely fine. Some actors feel like they will, they'll talk to their agents every week, have weekly catch ups, which is great. So it's different for everyone, and if you're an actor and you feel like you want more communication with your agent, then have that communication with them, chat to them, let them know. I'm sure they'd be really open to understanding that, and they'll be open to having those weekly catch ups or monthly catch ups. Um, with me, yeah, it's and because she has an assistant as well, I feel like recently I'm more. It's her assistant who will send me over the jobs a lot more rather than her. So I think so my agent, the main one, will send out. We'll look for these jobs for other clients, and ask her assistant to send this to Islam, and send that to this person, and send that, send that, send that. Um, Yeah.
Mm. I'd love to quickly talk because obviously you signed with a really top agency, and
Mm,
you know, for people that there are varied levels of agencies. Um, because of the caliber of your agent, were you able to really lead in those early conversations with, this is the sort of work I'd love to get seen for? Because, agents with that sort of
mm,
pulling power can bring those jobs in. Where you offered up the idea of going, okay, I'd like to do this kind of work or this kind of work? Or did you say,
mm,
well, what do you see me in? Because obviously agents take
mm.
actors onto their books because they see that career path, or at least I'd like to think so. They take an
Yeah.
actor on because they go, I know that they do this, this, and this well.
Mm. Definitely, definitely. She would when we had our meeting, she instantly said, "I know," because she came to see my showcase, and I had a comedy scene, and she instantly knew that, yes, you can do comedy. I love that style from you, and I can see you in these BBC Three comedies or and sitcoms and whatsoever. And and then that opened up the conversation for me, where it's like, yes, I know I can do comedy and I'd be amazing at that, but I also want to do this. And if you come and see me in this next show, you'll be able to see that I can do this as well, do all the serious stuff and the dramas and etc. And that will open up. That as soon as when they see your show reels and you send self tapes, they'll be able to see a lot of the stuff you can do. Especially my agent, I've been sent a lot of different kind of things, and she's been able to see all the tools I have in my my acting work.
Yeah.
And they
I'd love
know
to.
agents, they've got a very good eye. They know, they've been working in the industry for years. They know what you'll be good at, what you'll fit right for, and they know your casting. And now, of course, they always take your opinion into account.
Yeah, I really like that idea of just, having the confidence to say, I know I can do this. But as you said there, knowing that agents have a good eye for what they're talking about and find that
Mm.
symbiotic relationship, as it were. I'd love to quickly talk to you about Queen Margaret that you did at the Manchester Royal Exchange, which was, a
Yeah,
pretty early job for you after you graduated, wasn't it?
yeah,
What was that experience like? I watched the Barbershop Chronicles there a couple of years ago. It's such a
mm,
which was an incredible play. It's such a
mm,
gorgeous theatre. What was it like working at a place like that, and with a company led by someone with the ability and the prowess of Jada Nuka, and directed by
yeah,
Elizabeth Freestone? Tell me anything that you liked about that, enjoyed about it. What did you learn from that experience?
yeah. That was amazing experience, man. Like, I first time moving out of home, in a different city, Manchester. I love Manchester, man. It's like,
Hmm.
it's like a second home to me. And going, it was very, very overwhelming. And I was the youngest there in the cast, and the most inexperienced. Um, so it was pretty overwhelming, and seeing all these other actors work and their knowledge in Shakespeare, and how, just watching them rehearse, how natural it all is to them, because we would do these improvisations, a lot of improvisations, and I'm watching them, and to them it's just like natural. It's like, butter on toast. and
Hmm.
and I've never worked with actors, quotations, that old, or from my age range. I'm used to drama school, and it's like, it
Yeah.
was like being in a room with kids again and playing, and with all these ideas bouncing off. Um, it wasn't even completely far off from just working at school, and working on a play and rehearsing. It didn't feel very far off. It was like being back at school again, and working on a project. The Royal Exchange really, really looks after you. They they love the actors there, and the theater is just amazing. It looks like a spaceship
Yeah.
coming out of,
Mm.
and it's got this big sort of window above it, like, and it's almost like it could fly out of the ceiling. Um,
Yeah.
but and I love theater. That's where it all started for me. I love stage, I love theater, and watching powerhouses like Jade, just in awe. Watching them in awe and learning from them, and how professional they are, and they were fun as well as professional. They were fun. They knew when to have fun. They knew when the joking stopped and when the work would come.
Yeah. I'd love to talk about your role in Afterlife. I know we mentioned Ricky a minute ago. What
Yeah,
was it like to work on set with such a
Yeah,
huge star?
someone I don't
yeah,
know on
man.
a first name basis. I was like,
Oh
Ricky
man,
who?
Ricky.
they,
Go down
they
the pub with Ricky.
no, it's not. It's not even. To be honest, I mean, we're not even anywhere near close like that. I remember that first day. It was mad. It was like, I came out of my flat, and this Bentley comes over in front of my flat. I'm like,
Uh,
what? this surely ain't for me. This Bentley, yeah. And this old guy comes out of it, who's there to obviously drive me to set. This old guy, and he's got this sort of like cowboyish hat, and he's wearing this white suit, and I'm like, what the fuck? So he's like, and then he's like, yeah, you're coming. He opens the door for me, and I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm getting inside this Bentley, and inside the whole journey, he's offering me like these lemon sherbets. He's like, you want a lemon sherbet? He had this proper like Cockney accent. You want a lemon sherbet? Yeah, yeah. I'm like, no, I'm good, thanks. I'm good. I'm good.
Jesus,
And
it's just like I don't really want to get in a car with some guy in a Stetson hat who's offering me sweets, but that
I
sounds
know, man. I
great.
know. It was, and but I'm like sitting in the back nervous as well. I'm like, I'm too nervous to eat or anything.
Yeah.
Uh, but literally, it was I got there and we're in a field and there's lots of trailers everywhere and people are having their lunch and everything and I'm getting changed and I'm nervous, and it was I couldn't put it any more simply. It felt just like another day's work in a way. Like you went there, we was in a street, a normal street where people are walking by. They didn't have to block off the roads or anything like it was like a big American $1 million movie or something. It was just a normal street, few people there on set, and obviously Ricky Gervais was there. He was in a normal black shirt in his character doing his thing. Went over, shook his hand, said hello, yeah, yeah, we all good, we ready to do it, and we just started filming the scene, and he would give me some redirection. I would ask him, should I try this? He'd be like, yeah, let's try that, let's try this. It was like working with any other actor, to be honest. And because he wrote it and directed it as well as starring in it, he would then go back to the monitor after every take, watch it back, have a talk with his fellow producers, and have a little chit chat, say, okay, let's try this time, and it felt just like a normal day at the office in a way, man. If you'll pardon the pun.
Yeah, it's
But,
very good. I was about to comment on that. That was
yeah.
smooth.
And because when I finished, he still had more stuff to film, so he literally had to just go and carry on doing some more filming, and because the character that I had, obviously, I'm not a mugger in real life, but it's a close to home character. I could use my East London accent and just chill and be a bit of a bad boy. Um,
Yeah.
so I felt comfortable within that character. I know I can't mess this up. Let me just go and play and have fun.
Was it at all difficult not to laugh in that scene? Because I know the scene itself isn't necessarily comedic; it's more the dry
Yeah,
nature of his responses in it. But
yeah.
his outtakes for his shows are almost as famous as the shows itself. Did you have any
Mm, it
ones in there, or was it a process where, as you say, you were just so on it as a day of work, you were quite focused
yeah.
all?
Because it was funny. I remember like a few nights before, I was watching his behind the scenes stuff, and I was like, "Fuck, this guy laughs a lot, man." I'm like, "Shit, I prepared this," but like he's got a loud laugh as well. But on the day, he was very professional. There wasn't that many of it, and I remember going up to him, and I had the script in my hand, and I was like, "Do you want me to say, do you want me to say this kind of funny, or do you want me to do this kind of comedy element?" And he's like, "No, no, no, no. This isn't a comedy. This is real life. We're gonna do this real life. Do exactly what you're doing." I was like, okay, cool. I'll get in the zone, and this is real life. So I was surprised at how this particular scene, he was very, very stern and very on it. Um, and there were a few little laughs and giggles and stuff, but overall, no, he was very professional, and he had this presence of it's time to work.
Mm.
This guy that I'm used to seeing on TV, who's eccentric and hilarious and just overall mad. It's just a very serious guy on that day. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine he's what a talent though to be able to go from acting to then going behind the monitor and watching it all back and then going back into acting. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
Wow. What was the process like to land the role of Arman in the letter for the king?
Yeah. Wow. I
What a job.
Yeah. No. Amazing. That was literally because I literally found out I got the job first week into Queen Margaret. So this is at the end of my first week.
Oh,
So that
awesome.
was that was just crazy. It was um it was a proper dream come true, man. I actually missed my original audition on the day I was meant to have it. I remember my agent's assistant. She called me. She was like, "Oh, Islam." He's like, "Where were you?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Your audition. Where were you?" I was like,
Oh
"It's
man.
it's, it's tomorrow, right?" "No, no, it's today." And I was like, "Ah, bruv." But I was like, I must have read the date wrong or something, and I was in my bed at the time, just chilling as well, And I said, "Oh, is there a way can we reschedule it?" And she's like, "Yeah, it's fine. We'll reschedule it to the day after or something like that." So, oh, that's cool. Yeah, yeah. I went and done my audition, done my tape. And I originally auditioned for another character. Do you know the bard Giuseppe who plays the guitar and sings?
Mm.
Mm.
And because I play a bit of guitar, so my agent just thought, you know what, let's go for this character. He plays some guitar, and I got the recall, which was in Spotlight, and literally remember that's the first time I went to Spotlight as well. I remember just going in and just seeing lots of kids. To be honest, this is the first time I've had people a lot younger than me in a room. I'm looking around thinking, bloody hell, is Disney Channel here today or something, man? I don't know. So I'm like, okay, cool. Let me just sit with the kids. All right, cool.
Mm.
Because you know how Spotlight has they have this big sofa in the middle in a
Mm.
way, so it's not like separate chairs. So you all kind of have to sit
No,
really
you're all
close
sort
to
of
each other the
climbing
way
on
it's set
top of
up.
each other.
And yeah, in a way. But yeah, and then we went in as groups. They would ask different groups to come in and audition together. They would mix the groups up, and Faddy, obviously Faddy, who's in my year drama school. She walks in through the door. I'm like, oh, hey, Faddy, oh, what's up? And we went in for a couple auditions together along with some other actors, and that was nice. It was pretty overwhelming. There'd be like, I think there was a director, 3 producers, 2 casting directors in there at the time, and so there's just a lot of people in the room watching us. Oh wait, can you give me 1 second, please? I'll be right back. Give
Yeah,
me
sure.
1 second. Right. Sorry to stop it halfway.
It's all good.
Sorry, but we can edit that in it, can't we?
Yeah, it's fine.
I might leave it in. It was funnier that way. No, carry on, carry on.
Raw.
So literally, yeah. So after we go in audition, and then they asked me to read in for Arman, and I was like, oh, cool, okay, yeah. I was like, yeah, I don't mind reading for Arman. Let's go for it. So I had the script in my hand, and I'd go in and read as Arman, and then there were like 3 group scenes as well. So there's a lot of waiting around. Oh, wait, that's cool. So that's my family. And so yeah, they asked me to read for Arman, 3 group scenes, and each had them done. And then that was it. That was pretty much it. We left. I remember leaving with Faddy and just talking about it, saying, "Oh man, this would be exciting to have. What a job, medieval, something I never really expected to ever be in or ever touch, to be honest." And then a month later, going to Manchester, and then finding out I had it, and it was nuts, man. It was nuts.
It's mad to
Wow.
think that it was just seemingly that as you said, that one group round audition, was it, for that one part which you missed the original date of and led to that huge part.
Yeah.
Amazing. And as you say, you weren't originally up for the part that you got. Do you think that played a part in you getting it, in the sense that when you were in the audition room, it was you with the script in your hand, so you had no prep that you were
Mm,
concerned on in your head, you just sort of went for it? Do you think that sort of
mm.
instinct in the room really helped you in the moment? I mean, I imagine it was terrifying, but it's almost when we produce our best work, right?
Yeah, yeah. I guess in a way is because I think what helped was that I wasn't just on my own. I was with a group of 3, 4 other actors, so that helped. But definitely, I think maybe what I was doing originally with the other character, Giuseppe, they could see that those choices and those actions with Armin. So I think what I said to myself, you know what, just do what I was kind of doing with Giuseppe, but twist it here and heighten it there a bit with Armin,
Hmm.
because they're seeing that within me. So I didn't overthink it. I just thought, you know what, they know that I'm holding a script in my hand.
Yeah.
They're on my side. It's fine. Just go and do my thing and just smash it. And obviously, I'd read the script and gone over it lots of times. I was kind of aware of Armin's lines, but obviously just not the cues.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I like that idea that you said there, of being aware of the fact that they saw that other character in my performance for the original character, so not to alter it too much. I think that's a
yeah,
really smart decision. Like, I know a
mm,
lot of people, I because my immediate instinct was, oh my god, I'd get a new character, I'd have to try and do this or this. But no, you're quite right. It's that idea of going, well,
yeah,
they saw that in what I did before. Let's just add a couple of twists and see whatever happens in the moment, but not to progress too far away from it. I really think that's a smart decision.
thank
Um,
you, man. Yeah,
I'd love to ask. just how much fun it was to work on a show like that, as you said, that sort of medieval
Mm,
style genre with, you know, horse riding and that sort of combat idea. Because it's a genre I'd love to work in, and I'm kind of jealous of it. So I just want to know how much fun you
mm.
had and live in my jealousy as I listen back.
Yeah, no, it was all right. If anything, yeah. Next question. Yeah. No, it was honestly. I know, like it's true. Filming it can obviously get boring, and it's just filming is a whole day of repeating the same scene, the same line, for 12 hours a day, and etc. etc. But I think the fact that it's a medieval show, that we're riding horses, we're fighting, where it brings all the fun, and that it's a story about a group of young knights as well. It's not a story where someone's just on their own. So we're always together on set, pretty much. We'd have each other's company. The crew were always hilarious and fun to work with. So it was fun, and we had very fun scenes, and we would play off that. So we would enjoy our days, and yeah, I think even we just knew it'd be very exciting from the moment we started. We all got along very well, and yeah, we knew it'd be very exciting.
Hmm. I can imagine it was really intimidating when you first got there. What advice would you give to people for dealing with the
Mm,
pressures of working on such a large set,
mm,
or nerves in general? Because I know it can be such a huge barrier for a lot of actors
mm.
prior to even getting the job.
Yeah, I'd say don't obviously don't be nervous, but I remember getting there. And literally it was like a 22 hour flight. I had 10 hours on one plane, like another 11 on the next plane. I literally went to LA, and then from LA to New Zealand. And then I arrived there, and then I had like a couple of hours to freshen up at the hotel, shower, whatever. And then I was going to go and meet everyone at the studio. And then obviously I'm nervous and excited at the same time. But then I got there and I'm seeing everyone, all the people working at the studio and the offices and that are just as nervous as me, and are already just starting working as well. And so everyone's kind of in the same vibe in a way. Everyone's feeling the same. They're
Hmm.
all very nervous and getting ready to start on this huge project. People that are there that don't really know what they're doing, but they're learning as well. So you kind of felt like you're in the same boat in a way. You've got people building and starting making the props and the set and stuff. So everyone there was starting as well as I was. So that was nice. That kind of settled the nerves for me. Um, and everyone there will welcome you, so nicely. Everyone there's so humble, and they know, you're the actor. I think everyone caters to the actor. You're there first, the priority. So that helps in a way.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I think that settled the nerves for me definitely.
Hmm. I'd love to ask what it was like working with Thaddy, who you trained with at ArtSed, and who's
Mm.
absolutely killing it at the moment. I know she's in
Yeah, man.
The Irregulars, which is the Sherlock Holmes
Yeah.
inspired series that I think is coming out this year. I'm a bit of a Sherlock Holmes nut, so I love that. What was it
Mm.
like working with her? As you said, you even saw her in the audition room initially, so that
Mm.
that must have been quite a crazy experience going from a drama audition room in Chiswick to a film set.
Yeah. Mate, Thady is a gem. She's smashing it from day one. She's been smashing it. Like I remember third year, she left halfway. She left in like February, so she didn't even do the showcase. I think I can't remember if she even done the showcase. Um, she signed. She was like the first person to sign. She signed in like November of
Mm.
third year. Um, so she was already flying. As soon as she'd gone, I remember just thinking. I remember went home that night after she said goodbye and just thinking, "Yo, this is it now. This is my time to step up." Thaddy's gone. Excuse me, Thaddy's gone and done amazing. This is where I need to be, man. I need to do the exact same thing. I need to follow in her footsteps and just progress. And then having this job with her and joining her in her journey, I felt it made it more special in a way, knowing that
Yeah.
someone who smashed it in our year group, that I'd be alongside them, and that sort of did me a little more proud, and it brought the whole project closer to home. And like I said, like Queen Margaret didn't feel like I was away from school. It felt like I was back at school working on a project. Same with Letter for the King. It was like we're back at ArtSed working on another film project or something. So she definitely brought that close to home vibe for me, and we like I never even not said. I don't think I ever worked with her a lot. I think we may have had like 1 or 2 projects together. I don't
Mm.
think we had. I think we did one play together in second year, but we didn't have any scenes together.
Hmm.
We did one fight project together, I think, in second year, and we had a little, another little small sort of filming project thing in third year, in end of second year. Sorry. So we actually rarely got to work together in drama school. And then suddenly, this project came, and bam, we had to, that chemistry sort of sparked.
Yeah.
And you
Wanting to
could,
get on.
and they could tell that as well. I think a lot of the people on set and would say, wow, yeah, I can really see that chemistry there with you and Thads, and it was, yeah, it was a big compliment.
Yeah, I can imagine that was really comforting when obviously you knew she was cast, and it settles the nerves knowing you're working with someone that
Mm,
that you're familiar with. Are
yeah.
you able to watch yourself back and enjoy it now, or do you find yourself very critical of your performances? Or
Now, definitely now I can. Yeah, I'd say that, man. Like, oh, mate, second year, because second year is the first time you watch yourself on screen
yeah,
consistently. And I remember dreading it, man. I used to be like, "This is what I look like when I do this. That's my face when I do this." And I remember being so critical of myself, and 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 just not liking it, to be honest. I was like, and then when I came to first year, I remember watching you guys in third year. We watched your show reels, and I'm looking at these people. I'm looking at your year, and you all look great on screen. You all just seem so professional. You look like you know what you're doing. The scenes just look great, and I'm thinking to myself, oh man, am I going to be cut out for this? Am I going to be good enough? And then second year, I'd say at the end of second year, okay, I got used to watching myself on a little screen behind not so great quality cameras, but I can work with that. That's fine. I can actually look at my acting and actually progress now.
mm.
Third year again, now these are much better quality cameras now. There's more detail in your face, and then I
Yeah,
sort of went back into that shell. I'm like, oh, I can't. I'm too embarrassed and too shy to watch myself, especially on a big ass screen, in the Android Weber theater,
yeah,
um, but I knew that I had to get used to it. This is what it's going to be like, for the rest of my career. So, and when Letter for the King came along, you'd watch yourself, on a few takes here and there. Got used to that, watching myself back on a few takes, and okay, yeah, this is cool. Yeah, I'm enjoying this. This looks fun. Wow, this shot is amazing. Oh my god, this looks funny. This looks great. So watching myself back on takes definitely prepared me to watch myself on screen, especially because we had a screening a few months before the actual release. We watched 2 episodes, and we were just in awe. And when you watch the story actually unfold and the whole journey start to live in front of your eyes, all the insecurities, all the thoughts, all the negative stuff just goes out of your way because you're enjoying this piece of story.
yeah, for sure. I think that's such a good point, because it can be easy as actors to focus on yourself when really you're just
Yeah,
there to do your job, and it's the story as a whole that
yeah.
takes over when it comes to it.
And you have to think because you're criticizing yourself, but when you're watching other people, do you actually in your head go, "Oh my god, this person looks like this when they do that"? This person look. No, you're not. You're just literally
No.
watching them and you're enjoying it. So in my head, I go, "That's no one else is thinking about me about this. It's just me. I'm in my own head. Everyone else is just enjoying this scene, enjoying this story."
Yeah, and I think you mentioned there the watching the show was back in the Lloyd Webber Theatre Arts. There was really sort of baptism of fire in watching your stuff back. Actually, that was one of those things that really, for me, was like, well, if I can get through that, having my giant
Yeah,
head put on a screen and have to watch that with a couple of
yeah,
hundred.
yeah.
Christian's laughing because I do have a big head. watching that back is just
I'm not
it
saying
does
anything.
make it shut up. It does make it a lot easier, and I like the way you said as well with Letter for the King when you watch the screening, because obviously with some short films, the sort of rushes, although it's edited, are going to look quite close to what the final project is. Whereas on a huge
Mm,
Netflix series, there's going to be a vast difference between what you just look back on the monitor and the finished product. That must have been a
yeah,
really incredible moment when you go, oh, yeah, that take
yeah,
that was that 2 minute single on me then suddenly becomes this. Is that a really
yeah.
interesting thing, having been on the birth of that scene or the birth of that episode, as it were, to the finished product?
Yeah, it was so bizarre. We couldn't actually stop talking about it when we watched the screening. It was like how fast paced it all just looked, and some scenes we'd film in New Zealand, and then next scene you go and we're in Prague. There were scenes when Amir, the lead who played Tiuri, that he would, before walking into somewhere, he was in New Zealand, the outside, and then he'd walk in, and it's actually a studio in Prague, which are months apart filming wise. We just so enjoyed that, this fast paced action. But day to day you're filming and it feels slow, and you're like, okay, well, by the end of the day, you're like, oh, you kind of get tired and drowsy and whatsoever, but you forget what the outcome of what you're doing and what you're filming is actually just insane. It's
Mm.
so magical. I think every actor will see when they're filming how everything just comes together, almost like magic. Yeah.
Is there anything that you've learned from either people that you've worked with professionally that you've taken on and applied to your own work? So if it's advice or a literal technique or just through watching them, or actually, from your own experience going, oh, okay, you learn that on the job that has really transformed
Mm.
how you perform? Have there been any moments that you've gone, oh my God, I have to do that, or any just sort of nuggets of gold we can extract from you this evening?
No. Well, I'd start with stage. Queen Margaret, definitely. Every day I was learning. These people were just they were like Shakespeare gods to me. The cast, and they just had so much knowledge and talent within them, and experience as well. It's something almost you can't almost explain it. It was just felt so natural to them. It was almost like they definitely the when you're working on something like Shakespeare, definitely you've got to know what you're saying. You've got to dissect that text and so much that it becomes natural to you. That's what I felt like I had to do. I've got to learn, and I've got to understand what every word sort of means, and what is said, just to try and keep up with these other actors who've been doing it for years. Um, I think their ability to just play and be open, regardless of how old they are or whatever. Some of them may have had leg pain or back pain, whatever the case, but that didn't stop them at all. They'd come in every day and they would just play and have fun and work. Um, with Letter of the King, it was different. It was actually because I was one of the oldest in the cast. I felt like I went, it went completely opposite paths. Now I have to sort of do the inspiring and the motivating and etc. Um, because it was actually quite a young cast, and I think there were, at times, obviously my dad, who was Omid Jalili, played Sir Phantoma. That was a different level because finally we got some older people coming in, more experience we could learn from and just watch and enjoy. And he's someone that didn't really 100% wouldn't sit there and learn his lines. He would kind of have an idea of what his lines were, and then on set he would just yeah, just say it and make it work out, and it worked. They would let the camera roll, and they were like, "Omid, just do your thing, man. You just let the camera roll, do your thing." So from going on screen watching the likes of Omid Jalili, who has that kind of style to his acting, and then being on stage with different kind of actors who work in a different way by dissecting text and detail was very important. There were bits and bobs I would take from that, and it was so Letter King and Queen Margaret, two completely different experiences to learn from, definitely.
Amazing. You mentioned earlier about sometimes not speaking to your agent for 2-3 months at a time, being out of
Mm,
work. What do you do when you're out of work to stay sharp? Do you do the old vocal exercises from drama school, articulation work, things like that, accent
mm.
practice? Or...
Yeah, definitely. Definitely exercise, stretching, yoga in a way, sort of like that's always important. I think it's easy to slack and forget because for 3 years, you're working your body, you're exercising, even just traveling to school every day. That's exercise. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I think don't try not let go of that because for 3 years in training, your body's been used to that. So I've been stretching and working out as much as I can. Accents, I generally for me, what I do is when I'm in the bathroom brushing my teeth or whatever, or doing my skincare or in the shower, whatever, I'm always just
Yeah.
practicing going over accents in my mouth and doing the tongue exercises and then jaw massages and whatever I can. And also a new thing, especially in the first lockdown, I was like, what can I do to keep training the actors muscle? And I started writing, and all these ideas I've had for years in my head. I was like, that it's time to put them down on paper, and so I've started writing, whether that's a short film,
Fantastic.
stage. Yeah, so like I could have 60 pages of a short film I'm doing, or maybe only one page of a theater piece, or a feature film, or whatever. Just I've just been jotting it down and all into a paper. And doesn't matter what order everything's in. Doesn't matter if it's just notes that are just coming out of my head very randomly. I've just been putting that down to keep my my creativity going. So the writing's definitely helped,
Yeah.
for sure.
I I think that I we'd love to talk to you for ages, but
Mm,
I'll bring it together to a close here by saying that it was really interesting to talk you through your professional career so far, and realize that all your ideas of playing and your sort of methodology links back to that boy that you spoke about that was doing impressions to help him learn English and to
mm,
make people laugh. That it's come right the way
mm,
through to your career, whether that be working in the moment to get your role in the Letter for the King, or as you say, to keep
mm,
yourself busy, or your people that you've worked with, and your ability to learn from other people. It's been really fascinating to talk to you this evening, Islam. So thank you
mm.
so much for giving us
Thank
your
you, man.
time and your knowledge this evening. It's been a real pleasure, and we can't wait to see what you're doing next, whether that's acting or whether that's writing. So we wish you all the best, and thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, man. Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to our podcast.
We hope you enjoyed it and learned something.
We look forward to having you back in the room very, very soon.